Good afternoon, West Point Middle School. Welcome to our West Point Middle School virtual open house. We certainly were hoping to do this in person. The COVID-19 pandemic will not allow us to do so, but we still thought it was important to have an open house, even virtually. So I want to just spend a moment thanking all of you. We could not have as successful an opening as we've had without the great support throughout the summer of the Garrison Command, Colonel Marson and Colonel Roselle. Parents, you've been fantastic. We appreciate all the support we've gotten. Our students have just come right in and hit the ground running with all of our COVID mitigation interventions, and could not be more proud of them. And of course, our faculty and staff have really distinguished themselves, as they always do, with developing a plan and implementing the plan and doing it with compassion while also delivering a world-class education. So thank you to our command, our parents, our students, and our faculty and staff for what has been so far a very successful start to the school year. We are going to have Dr. Thomas Call running the virtual open house. And our format is the first 40 minutes, we will be delivering information to our 6th grade parents, the second 40 minutes to our 7th grade parents, and the last 40 minutes to our 8th grade parents. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. I'll be monitoring that. And we'll try to get all your questions answered during the open house. If you do have additional questions, you can always reach me on my cell. I've sent that out many times. You should be able to access that pretty easily. And I also sent out a email list of our faculty. So if you have any specific questions for individual faculty, just drop them an email. All right. So without any further ado, we're going to get right into this. And I believe we're going to start with Mrs. Hajar and Miss McCaw.
Hi there, my name is Carrie Hajar. Welcome back to school, and we're very excited to be in the school, and I'm pretty sure the kids are too. I am one of the teachers teaching 6th grade ELA. I'm also the gifted resources teacher, if you need to contact me. One thing that we're trying to make sure all the parents know is that all the Google Classrooms are up and running. And many people are putting their assignments in there already. Some people are doing a blended version, but they're all ready to go. So if you want to have your student pull it up and take a look at what's happening in Google Classroom, my assignments are all listed in there, and I believe everybody else's are too. My colleague, Jane Ann McCaw, who is also teaching ELA 6, is going to show you the curriculum and protocol slides. Thank you. One moment, technical difficulties. Right.
Jane Ann, just check to make sure your mic, I have to show your mic is muted. So Miles, I suggest let's go to the math and then we can come back and figure out the problem.
Okay, that sounds great. Mr. Lyle is going to present. Mr. Lyle, are you ready to go?
I have these on, so.
My mic is now working.
You have to unmute.
Yes, it's now and it's working. So talk about technical difficulties. I am going to present my screen now. Hopefully it will do this and present what I want to present. I hope you're seeing that it says ELA 6, reading, writing, speaking and listening, and language skills. Not showing? Okay.
So Jan, why don't you just go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll worry about
Okay.
it.
Okay, it's presenting. It's presenting right now. We're having a little technical difficulty, so my apologies. But it is the speaking and listening and the language skills, as I was saying. I teach period, pardon? I teach periods 1 and 2 and 3 and 5, and Mrs. Hajar is teaching periods 3 and 4. With hopefully you're seeing the slide that I have up there, which has my email address and Mrs. Hajar's email address.
Ms. McCall, please excuse the interruption. Can you click on your PowerPoint slide? You
Um,
are sharing the screen.
I
Can you click on the slide?
just did a couple of.
There it is. There it is. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, I did that a couple of times, so you know me, technologically, sometimes a little not advanced as I should be. But it is right there now, thank goodness. And we are working with the collections textbook. Mrs. Hajar and I have handed out the close reader and the performance assessment workbook. So all the students should have that with them. The students are currently reading in my class Rules, and they are reading Wonder in Mrs. Hajar's class. We have completed one book report and are working on our second book report, which for my class is the biography book report. The students visit the Information Center weekly, so we're working with Mrs. Dreyer too for both classes. Students write journals. They're learning new vocabulary words associated with the novels. They practice their speaking skills, and they're practicing their editing skills right now. As far as grading policy, homework and classwork for me are 32 points, quizzes 33, and test project and writing are 35 points of their grade. I also wanted to point out that the West Point Middle School has a website with links to GradeSpeed and Schoology and Google and Discovery, just to name a few of the links. And it keeps everyone posted on what is going on in the school and important information. And now I would like to introduce Mr. Lyle. Hopefully he doesn't have the technical difficulties I did. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McCaw. Thank you, Ms. Hajar. Appreciate it. Mr. Lyle?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I just turned on my mic.
Yep,
And
we can hear you now.
oh, great. So let me get this going. Okay, so welcome to 6th grade math. I thought I'd give you a little bit of description of what's going on, quarter 1. We started with module 2, that was our recommendation, division of whole numbers, division of fractions, and operations on multi-digit decimals. We're about halfway through the module. The next module we will do will be ratios and unit rates. A typical lesson in my class begins with a warm-up activity. including concept development using example problems. That takes about a third of the period, about a third of the lesson. It's followed by teacher-led exercises, another third of the lesson, and it's concluded with the problem set or the individual activity that the students do. Now, depending on how much time we have, this can be finished in class, or if it can be started in class but not finished, it can be finished for homework or just assigned for homework. One thing that I do look forward to is using student projects. Student project creation will enhance understanding of concepts taught in class, and they're a lot of fun. So let's go on to online resources. We have lots of them. EngageNewYork.org, great place to download a textbook if you need extra copies, or tons of information from our program or for our program. Also, if Mathia is a new online application that we're using from Carnegie Learning. Just log in there and you have access to help if the students need help on a specific topic. There's tons of help available. Or if the student just wants to get some more information, that's great. Now, Khan Academy, the next application is a fantastic way to challenge your students, and it is linked also with Eureka Math and Engage New York, the program that we're using. And of course, the DoDEA site has tons of information as well. Now, looking at our grading policy, 30% test quizzes, 30% is for classwork and homework, 20% projects, and also 20% class participation. And again, I'm always available for you, Jeff Lyle at dodea.edu. Contact me anytime. I'd be glad to help. Look forward to hearing from you. Okay, at this time, I would like to present my neighbor, teaching social studies, Miss Downey.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle.
You bet. So let me see if I can get out of here.
You're muted, Miss Downey.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm assuming you can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yay. And let me show you a little information about sixth grade social studies. There we go. I'm assuming you can see my slide. Is that correct?
No.
No, but the slide is beautiful. Any technical tips here?
Okay, did you click present now?
Let me go back and see.
So at the bottom of the screen where you turn your
Yep,
mic
present
on,
now. Your entire screen.
you may want to choose like
Oh, got it. Gotcha.
Kirsten's having.
There we go.
So
Thank you,
look
Mr. Jar.
Here's my audio settings.
Okay, you're presenting.
My speakers, right? Right, watch this.
You're linked to.
Well, should I just take it out?
Yeah.
Okay, how we doing?
It's gonna work
Can
now.
you see my screen?
yeah, we can see your screen now.
Okay, there we go. Thanks for your patience. My name's Miss Downey, and I do teach sixth grade Eastern Hemispheres, which is also known as social studies or geography. And the sixth grade social studies curriculum is focused on the Eastern Hemisphere. And it includes not only just map skills. I know a lot of people think of geography as map skills, but it's a lot more than that. We also study cultures, ancient civilizations. We do some map skills and modern technology, but it's all tied together with the ancient civilizations for the Eastern Hemisphere. Now, as far as social studies goes, it's not just learn the facts, memorize information. There's a lot of things. If you notice right here where it says 5 instructional priorities, it's important that students are able to ask questions and inquire about, well, why does this work? Or how come people decided to do this way? We also, well, if it wasn't for COVID, but we would also be doing a lot of collaborative work. We do a lot of stations, activities, but at this point, obviously that's on hold. And number 3, we do integrate the content of the information with skills. So as they're learning information, they're also learning skills. For example, right now we are discussing modern geography and what does it mean? What do people do with geography? But at the same time, we're working on things like finding the main idea, writing good sentences. So there's a lot of integration there. Other things, the practices, those are also stressed by DODEA, of skills like chronological reasoning. So you'll see your students doing things like timelines. There's a lot of compare and geographic reasoning in terms of, okay, take this information from this river civilization and compare it to this other river civilization. And we also do touch into not just the civilization in general, but some specifics as well. Like this is how their economy was established, and this is how government and religion all impact these civilizations. Right now, for the key ideas, we started with the present day Eastern Hemisphere. In terms of right now, we're working on the basics, like I said, for geography and types of tools and skills and things. And then after the first quarter, we'll move on to the historic part of it, like the ancient, the first humans and early civilizations, like ancient Mesopotamia. And eventually, after we do the river civilizations, we'll move on to just the basics of religion and how it impacted these different civilizations. And hopefully we'll make it on to the classical civilizations like ancient Greece and ancient Rome. So that in a nutshell is what we will be doing this year. And if you have specific questions or anything like about grading practices, that information was sent via syllabus to the parents, so you can take a look to get the specifics. Similar to Mr. Lyle, a typical day or a typical class period, the students come in and I immediately direct their attention to the board where they record their homework assignments, and we talk about the objective for the day and our agenda of what we will be doing for the class period. Classes often incorporate a lot of different modes of instruction to include singing. Right now we've been singing the 5 Themes of Geography song, and in a normal situation we would be doing skits and stations, and I'm going to try and incorporate as much of the activities as possible with the social distancing and but we'll see how it goes. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to get in touch. And I will be passing the torch on, let me hit exit.
Yeah, Miss Willis is next.
Perfect. You're on, Miss Willis.
Thank you. Thank you very much for passing the torch. So as I'm going to come down here and present, closing out my meeting here. Oh my goodness. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. So let me pass this on. Okay. Let's go ahead and take over and present. So welcome to science. This is the science classroom. And I'm very fortunate to have your students in class. We have a great set of thinkers, problem solvers, as I see already. And as navigating through the classroom, we are taking upon the approach of systems and engineering. Well, right now we're doing systems and systems engineering. Hello there, Karen. Something wrong? I'm not presenting? Oh, yeah, because I'm getting ready to put it on. No, I'm getting ready to share my screen now. So thank you. What I wanted to be able to do is bring up the online curriculum and see how fantastic it is that this is our actual HMH. You'll probably hear your students at home talking about hmhco.com/1, and we are in Unit 1. So we're in engineering and science. And as you see, this is a wonderful navigation tool as the students are actually able to access their online curriculum here in the classroom as we practice it in case we do go to the remote status, and they have a seamless way to continue their study. In this actual curriculum, you can go over to the table of contents. We are on lesson 2, systems and system models. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to practice science skills, engineering skills, as well as the practices of scientists and of engineers, and seeing that they work hand in hand in their design practice, as well as the system of scientific methods. And we want to make sure that we can be analytical and critical thinkers throughout, and when models work and when they actually don't work. So this is our main focus right now, as we are in, you guys might see at home, we are defining a system, the constraints, when you are looking at the niceties of, what things we would like to have inside a design, but when things really must be there. So look forward to that. In the Google Classroom, students have been navigating pretty well as I take them into the practice of looking up into their classwork area. They have some resources at the top in case they forget how to get on the online curriculum. Some audio books from our library, wonderful resources from Discovery Education to looking into how do I research an audiobook. The course guideline that you were sent yesterday in an email to gain all of the subject areas and electives so that you can look at the course guide for grading practices, as well as the topics that will be used throughout the year. And I wanted to point out, we try to keep it seamless for week to week, what's going on with homework and whatnot. So jumping out of that, I wanted to show that, like my colleagues are trying to do, is talk about grade speed, talk about our routines that are here in school. At the end of the year, we will stay true to letting you know what we've been doing throughout the year with the Celebration Tea. And what that will be like is the collection of the year, an electronic portfolio to have all of our subject areas have work that's been collected. Digital management is a focus, trying to keep the students not just keeping a digital platform, but also stay managed. And while they do that, they're able to go into each of their subject areas and show you some highlights of what we did throughout the year. So I celebrate work with them all the time and say they're doing great things. So please, let's collect it so that we can then celebrate in a collected way using our digital tools. Since we are in Google Classroom, we're also, able to hone in on the fact that they are learning Google Apps. And they are so tech savvy in this 21st century learning environment that we have. So I just want to say thank you for trusting us with your children. And we are definitely staying safe. We are doing movement of individual lab stations so that they can still practice science and engineering while in school. Thank you. I want to bring us back to now Megan Reifenberg. I'd like to introduce our wonderful music program. And so if I can jump back in the meeting and stop talking. There you go. Hi, Megan.
Thank you, Mrs. Willis. Thanks everybody for being here today. I have to tell you, it has been an awesome start to the school year. I'm pulling up my slide right now, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. And I'd like to actually start with a video that we took in class today. So hopefully this will present for us. This is the culmination of our bucket drumming unit in intermediate band.
Yep.
So that was just a snippet of what we've been doing here. And I have to say how proud I am of our students of really embracing the different ways we've had to approach school this year. So I'm very proud of them, and I think I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues. So we've done some bucket drumming, we've actually started some marching basics, and we've done some theory review. Just like the other teachers, everything that we're doing in class, including our syllabus, is loaded into Google Classroom, so your children can show you that. Also, they should have brought in their class supplies. So for this class in particular, for band, students had extra supplies that they had to bring in. And we're going to start playing our instruments this week. So if they don't have their supplies here, they won't be able to participate. So please make sure that your child has brought them in. Finally, it's very easy to reach me via email. So you see my email at the bottom of the screen there. Thank you so much for sharing your children with us. It's been an interesting but awesome start to the school year. I'm going to actually turn it back over to Mrs. Willis for her to talk a little bit about tech apps.
Thank you, Ms. Reifenberg.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Ms. Reifenberg, for bringing us back to computer apps. Applied Tech is for sixth grade, it's just a quick semester. And in that semester, we try to, again, bring in Google Apps as much as possible. But I wanted to make sure that you saw that we are including in that some engineering design, building bridges through some software, the West Point Bridge design that we like to do. Let's see if I can bring me back to my shared slide. Sorry about that. We had the topics of looking forward to computer coding. We use Scratch, Codesters to include Python and JavaScript. And we are definitely getting through a unit right now, which is digital citizenship and responsibility. So they're using something called Internet Awesome. Then we go into Lego Mindstorms. But right now we are building bridges, as you see on the slideshow here. The students will design in a virtual format. They're looking at simulations and models, and they build this bridge, and they have to prove their cost. And they're in a small little design competition with each other and building 24-meter above the elevation of the riverbed bridges so that they can reduce cost and see if they can build the cheapest bridge, and then they can build the most expensive bridge. So I let them do that. And they're documenting their work into Google Slides, as you see, so that they can share their work with me as well as have something for their portfolio. And above here is an example rather of coding that they're doing with code.org. So it's a differentiated pace. They're able to do as much as they can at home, even here in school. And it looks like they're truly motivated to work on it in both places. So I thank you again for our great problem solvers. I'll turn it over now to Susanna Coelho, and she is going to talk to you about our PE program.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mrs. Willis. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I am very fortunate to have the opportunity to help teach your children about how to be physically literate with the ability, confidence, and desire to be physically active with a focus on fitness and wellness throughout their lifetime. To do this, lessons are based on the Shape America National Physical Education Standards, which DODEA adopted. And that helps define what a physically literate student should know and be able to do. There are 5 standards. I'm going to pull that up right now and let you view that as I continue to talk. So hopefully I can get there, present now. And I would like to present my screen, and then I will go to, just one moment, get to my poster. Okay, so hopefully you are now viewing the 5 national standards that physical education utilizes to help plan lessons. And students' grades in PE will demonstrate. I'm sorry, you can't see it?
No, make sure that you, when you choose present now, choose like a Chrome tab or a window, and then choose which one you need.
Okay, hold on just a minute. Okay,
All
I
right.
did choose. I just forgot to click on the share. Is
Okay,
it there now? Are we
yes.
good? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Alrighty, so their grade in PE will demonstrate their understanding of and participation in these standards. They will be involved in a variety of games, sports, dance, physical fitness, health, problem solving, and cooperative activities to help them gain experience and meet the DODEA standards. This year, we face many challenges in physical education and how to participate safely. Individual activities with no physical contact is how we will operate. Any group games that are played, we're using our feet. For the time being, we've been working on a 2-base kickball game, and the students have been really seeming to enjoy that, along with learning about fitness. Currently, as per guidelines, all students use their own equipment that is cleaned at the end of each class. So each gets handed a piece of equipment, and then we clean it when they're done with it. Each week, several activities that we do in class and any assignments due will be posted on our Google Classroom. I'm just going to pull up our classroom very quickly. So here it is. And there's a standing weekly workout log assignment. Here you can see I just gave them a reminder to turn that in. It's due on Tuesday evenings, and they should be logging at least 4 days of activities. We've gone over this in class. And you can find lots of things in our classwork. We have materials listed. I try to date them and just note the materials and then the assignments. All right, so let me get back on track here. I will grade these workout logs on Wednesday mornings and then return them to the students so that then they can proceed and continue working on them. All right, so dress for class. It just requires sneakers right now. I don't require them to change their clothing. They're more than welcome to if they would like to. They all have been assigned a locker in the locker room to go ahead and store their belongings during class. If they'd like to keep extra sneakers or extra clothes there, they're also welcome to do so. We're off to a great start, and we'll begin some FitnessGram assessments soon. We've been learning about them over the last couple of weeks. And we'll do some personal goal setting. A FitnessGram will be emailed to everyone once we've completed the assessments. That usually happens around report card time, but I do want you to realize that their grades are not based on the results of their fitness assessments. It's simply for them to find out where they are currently and how they can set goals for themselves to be more healthy and active. I look forward to working with your children this year and teaching them about the importance of physical activity in their lives. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if I just talk too fast. I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mrs. Downey again to talk about study skills. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho.
Okay, let's see. Okay, once again, some technical issues. So instead of showing this slide, I'm just going to tell you about Study Skills briefly. Study Skills is a class that all sixth graders are taking. It's a 9-week rotation, and the students are supposed to be learning how to become better students. The class is based on the AVID program, the basics of AVID, which is WICR, writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. So each week I try to get as many activities in for each one of those elements as we can. So it's not just about staying organized and writing down your assignments. That definitely is part of it. But also we're talking like this week about how to do outline notes. Last week we did learning logs. The week before it was graphic organizers. So we're talking about different ways to record and process the learning for all their classes. We also work on things like reading skills that relate to social studies. I pull a lot of the social studies curriculum into the study skills class. Once again, because of COVID, we can't do too many collaboration activities, boo, because I have tons and tons of activities I like the kids to do to work on communication and things, but we'll do the best we can. And if you have any questions or want to see the specifics, again, the syllabus was sent to parents, and hopefully this class will be successful in helping your children prepare for college and life beyond West Point Middle School. So thank you, and let me pass it over to Ms. Dreyer and Ms. McCaw, who are in charge of research and creative writing. Thank you.
Ms. Daly. Nice work.
Hi there, I'm Miss Dreyer, and I'm assuming everyone can hear me. You know, I have to say that to get some acknowledgement before I rattle on. I am super excited about teaching research project this year, and I've made some changes to how the course was taught in the past, and we're going to be spending more time on evaluating the different information sources. And to give you an example, today we were reviewing the purpose of information, and students had to identify whether they were trying to be sold something, informed, provoked, persuaded, and this is really preparing them for becoming more information literate. So can you see this?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet? No? Oh dear. Hang on, cancel. There it is. Okay, sorry, this explains it a little better. There we go, you can see it now?
Yes.
Okay, great. They're going to go through the research process, and my goal is to really have them do that successfully and to develop their information literacy skills. We're doing a lot of fun things, and I'm really looking forward to working with your kids. I'm keeping this short because I know we're running short on time. I'm always available by email or phone, so call me anytime. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ms. Dreyer. Ms. McCaw, do you want to come in and say a few words about creative writing very quickly?
Yes, I do. I am hoping to share my screen.
You can just talk through it if you'd like.
Okay, here it is. It's creative writing. I hope that you're seeing that. And in creative writing, the students learn to write a variety of different writing styles, including poems, memoirs, journals, short stories, campfire stories, tall tales, myth. What we also do is keep an ongoing composition notebook with our readable writing. We've mostly been working on so far doing Google Docs and sharing the Google Docs. I have wonderful writers in my creative writing class that are so excited about writing, which makes me so excited about reading it. So we wrote this together and we shared it, and we're having fun doing it. I am enjoying it, and I hope they are too. Thank you very much. And I would like to introduce Mr. Giacchetti, our wonderful art teacher.
Thank you, Ms. McCaw. Mr. Giacchetti has announced his retirement, so he has a message that he'd like to share with the community.
Hello. I'd like to take this time to say goodbye. I'm ending my career with DoDEA after having served in Berlin, Hohenfels, Regensburg, Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, and the past 14 years here at West Point. It has been my tremendous pleasure and opportunity to be able to work with the children, especially here at West Point. It's an amazing installation. They're amazing children, and I wish everybody the best in the future. Thank you for the opportunity, and Godspeed.
So we are obviously going to miss Mr. Giacchetti immensely. His last day is September 30th, and that will be a sad day for all of us. And we'll celebrate his storied career and departure as well as he heads down to the Jersey Shore to retire and to also continue his passion of sculpting. So congratulations, Mr. Giacchetti. Sixth grade team, thank you very much. If you have any questions, parents, that you want to drop into the chat box, you may, and I will continue to answer those. And we appreciate you coming in. Seventh grade parents are coming in as we speak, so we will start that momentarily. Thanks again for coming in. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. All right, welcome seventh grade parents to our West Point Middle School virtual open house. We would much prefer doing this in person, but the COVID-19 pandemic will not allow us. But we did think it was important to have an open house nonetheless, so a virtual version we will do. We could not have had a successful opening without the support of our entire community. Colonel Marson in the beginning of the summer, Colonel Roselle the rest of the summer. Parents have been fantastic. Our students have come right in and followed the COVID modification plan we've put together. And of course, our faculty and staff here have been fantastic developing the plan and implementing as well, trying to keep everyone safe. Thank you as well, Mrs. Moreno. Appreciate it. So seventh grade parents, if you have any questions, you can drop them into the chat box. I will monitor that as we go. And without any further ado, we will have teachers presenting, starting with Miss Munderville. Please, Miss Munderville.
Hi, all. Welcome back to school. It's nice to have all of your smiling children's faces every day in class, even though I can't see them from the nose down, but I can tell by their eyes that they're smiling. So I'm just going to get into this as soon as it allows me to share. While I'm waiting for the share function to give me the permission to do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 7th grade team and how we're presenting. So I am going to talk about essential learnings, and then my colleagues are going to talk about grade speed in classroom. I'm not going to go into Google Classroom, specifically my classroom, because I think you'll get the gist of what we're all doing as my colleagues talk about grade speed and classroom. And oh, I see. Okay. Give me 1 second. I think it's working now. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm focusing on essential learning. So what I'd like to highlight over the summer, the district had identified from our DODEA curriculum standards what essential learnings we should be focusing on with the students, not only to be successful at 7th grade learning standards, but also as building blocks, foundational material that they all should be focusing on and targeting so that they can also be successful in 8th grade. So the 7th grade learning targets for ELA, really, they did a good job of highlighting a nice mix of skills for this first quarter introduction, whether it be supporting and refuting claims, comparing speeches, verbal speech to transcripts, identifying foreshadowing through setting and having all of these various types of writing, readable writing, narrative on demand, and quick writes. So, and that was highlighted so that if we do happen to go into remote learning, all of the tools and material are also accessible from home. Your students have been given a visual brochure, I like to call it, the syllabus. If you've seen this, or if you haven't seen it, if you'd like to ask your student, your child, they can certainly share this with you. And it kind of goes over all of the essential skills and overview of the class and things about grade policy and technology policy. And lastly, I have a little cartoon here, Calvin and Hobbes, about the importance of staying in touch with me if you have a question. And so I can be reached at either of these 2 addresses, just based on experience from when we had to go remote the last time. If we are ever in a remote situation, because I did have an issue with my CAC card, if you email me at the student address, I will always be able to access that, whether we are in the building or remote. That is the 100% email that I'm able to check. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to not Miss Lamica, Mr. Beester, who is doing a great job covering for Miss Elvie for 7th grade math.
Thank you, Ms. Munderville. Nice work. Parents, again, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box and we'll try to answer them. And we did send an email list of all our faculty email addresses last week. Chris Bister is going to come in. He's doing a great job filling in for Miss Elvie as she finishes her processing. So, Mr. Bister, in advance, thank you for everything you've done, and take it away, please. Mr. Bister, you're muted.
There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. I have had a real pleasure of starting out the school year with your students, and it's been my honor to do so. I just wanted to cover some of the curriculum in short as to what we cover for quarter 1. I'll present that here. And all right. Can everybody see the screen there?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Yes.
All right. So just to start out, I cover both regular 7th grade math as long as also accelerated grade 7th math. At this point in the curriculum, we both are following along at the same pace. It is about week 8 that we split off into different topics. At this point, I am going over adding and subtracting integers, multiplying integers, working with mixed numbers, going to improper fractions. Ultimately, we will move into going into ratios along with linear equations moving forward. I have put up the syllabus in Google Classroom. It's actually more of the framework provided by Dodea, which covers each week as to what we will cover lesson-wise. I have tried to stay true to that as much as possible. This week, we've deviated a little bit in regards to getting them prepared to go through the beginning of the year exam that we must take over the next 2 weeks, which is a district-wide test. So I've kind of taken some time to go over that the last 2 days of class, along with going over their tests, so that way anything that was wrong, they could get the opportunity to understand why they had gotten it wrong. So the syllabuses are attached in this presentation. My emails are at the bottom. My phone number is also at the bottom. If you do feel that you need to reach out and I don't answer right away in email, please feel free to send me a message, text, call. I'm more than welcome to, help your students get through anything that they may be confused on at night. Grading, I have the test set at 50%, homework at 10, quizzes at 30, and other at 10 right now. Homework, I have not sent a lot home over the last few weeks of the beginning of the course, but moving forward, they will have a few homework problems at night, depending on how far we get into the lessons. Those are going to be posted in Google Classroom under the homework section tab that I have created, and your students can show you how I have that. I also record all my lessons that I write on the smartboard every day, export them at the end of class as PDFs, and they are grouped by the day in Google Classroom, and it covers exactly the work that we did on the board with each student in the class. So please just take time to review with your son or daughter at night the classroom, go through the work. If there's any questions, have them write them down, bring them to class the next day. Questions that one person might have will ultimately help everybody in the class, and everybody has a chance to participate. I really do ask for everybody to put their input in as to how they solve the math problems, so that way everybody can learn from another student's mistake, because that's really how we ultimately learn in the end. I don't know ultimately how long I'll be with the students, but in the time that I am, they are my highest priority of getting them to understand the math curriculum, and I hope to have a great 20 to 21 math year with them. And I will leave that for everybody, and we will head over to Melissa Prosperi.
Thank you, Mr. Bister. Nice work.
All right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Melissa Prosperi, and I am the U.S. history teacher here at West Point Middle School. I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen at this point, and you should see my slide. If I could get a confirmation of that, please.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. As I said, I teach U.S. history, and this is actually part 1 of a 2-part that folds into 8th grade with Mrs. Granger. I start with the settlement of the Americas, which is where we are now, and I hope to get through the Civil War this year. On my slide, you will see that I have linked my syllabus. I'm not going to take the time to go through my entire syllabus. It is on here, and it is also on my Google Classroom. Included in the syllabus are the key ideas of the curriculum. So if you have some free time and want to delve into that, it's all on the syllabus. The literacy standards that I share with ELA. So we do a lot of reading and writing in the history curriculum, as well as policies and procedures specific to my classroom, such as grading, homework, quizzes, tests, things like that. So if you have any specific questions after looking through the syllabus, please feel free to reach out to me. Google Classroom is going to be my main mode of communication through the school year. If you haven't visited my site, please do ask your student to log in. Every other day on my Google Classroom, I put a daily checklist. That includes everything we're doing during that block class period, and it also includes the homework. So I tell the students, you actually have no excuse now to say you don't know what the homework is, because it's also on my board. But in case you forget, because we all have moments, then it's posted on my Google Classroom at all times. Again, if you have any questions about Google Classroom, I can invite you as a parent if you reach out to me. But please utilize this Google Classroom as my main method of communicating what we're doing in the history classroom. The next bullet on here is Schoology and Pearson Realize. We have a huge textbook that we use, but I have instructed the students not to bring it home. Really, it kind of sits in their locker in case we need it in class, but they have the ability to access their textbook, through Schoology, which is listed on our West Point Middle School homepage. I've instructed them how to get on there, but the good news is if they don't know how to get on there and they don't remember, they can go to my Google Classroom, which has directions on how to access your online textbook through Pearson Realize. All right, the piece that I am going to talk to you about for a moment is grade speed. If you're new to our school, it is in my opinion, as both a teacher and a parent, it's one of the best communication tools we have for grades. I'm going to actually switch to that. So if you go to our homepage, the West Point Middle School homepage, you're going to see down here a grade speed login. And once you go to that, you can see that you will log in as a parent. I would log in as a teacher. And then, of course, the students have their own login, which hopefully everyone has been able to log on to. I do need to make a few comments about grade speed. This is actually your go-to place for your grades, not Google Classroom. Although grades may post on Google Classroom as we grade things, Grade Speed is the official grade book of our classrooms. So please use that in terms of if you have questions about grades. If you don't have access yet to Grade Speed and you would like to gain access through the parent login, I believe that you can reach out to Mr. Thomas Gall and he will be able to help you get an account.
Yeah, Miss Prosperi, what they need to do is where you show them to log in, they need to, there's a place to sign in. So if they click on parent, there's a place, click here to sign up. That's what they need to do.
Okay, so I stand corrected. Just go to the parent connection and click here to sign up and you will be on and good to go. All right, finally, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me through my emails, which as Mr. Shea mentioned, he's already shared. And at this point, I would like to pass the torch to Ms. Lamica and 7th grade science. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Prosperi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Therese Lamica, and I teach your students in science. Let me just pull that up. Okay, so, oops. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen now. In 7th grade science, we last year started new standards based on the next generation science standards. So whichever topic we are on, our disciplinary core ideas, we also cover the science and engineering practices and the cross-cutting concepts. So our HMH is our book. You've hopefully seen this workbook come home. So we have 4 modules, which are roughly 1 per quarter. Right now we're in the energy module. And then we go a different module each quarter. I sent all these books home initially because in the event we go to remote learning, I want to make sure the students have all the books they need. There is an online textbook, which I just switched to. Hopefully you can see it. And the students are well versed in how to get to this. And they they have the same book online. Oops, I think I just lost that. All right, let me come back. Okay, let me go back to this. Alrighty. Okay. So these are my contact information, and I really wanted to take the opportunity for the whole 7th grade to talk to you specifically about Google Classroom. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my Google Classroom tab here. So when your student goes to Google Classroom, your first page is going to show every class that they're in. Okay, so clicking on science here, the stream is where any announcements are. Okay, when classwork is really where everything is. So all the teachers have set up their Google Classroom pretty much the same. So under classwork, you have your most recent assignment first, and then it goes back until the older assignments. I've set up for science a resources category. So there's always how to log into the online textbook. There's the link with all the passwords and so forth, so the students remember. We use Science World Magazine a lot, so the same thing. They can click on here. They have their link. They have their password information. Also, just like all the other teachers have said, the course syllabus is here on Google Classroom. Okay, so that's the resources section. We have the assignment section. So if you were to click on any assignment, okay, the student view looks slightly different, but the student hits view assignment, and then they also have a place where they can turn it in. There's a box up on the right for turning it in. So really, this is the go-to place for this is the go-to place for everything. So we're keeping Google Classroom up and running right now, so we have continuity if we ever need to go to remote learning, and students should really get into the habit of checking it every day. It's been really helpful for students that have been absent because they always know what the work is, and they don't miss out. And like we said, even though you might see grades posted there, the grade speed is where you really want to find all your grades. Okay, so that's the end for the core teachers, and I'll pass it on. I believe music is next. Ms. Reifenberg?
Yep, thank you, Mrs. Lamica.
All right, thank you. And thanks everyone for being here this afternoon. My name is Megan Reifenberg, and along with Melissa Prosperi, we are the music teachers here at West Point Middle School. And we've had an awesome start to the year. It's been very interesting, but I have to say how proud I am of the students of how they have embraced our innovative approaches to exploring music. So students in music appreciation have been building their own music websites, as well as studying the story of Oz over the 120 years. Students in advanced band have been bucket drumming and learning some marching basics, and students in guitar have had instruments in their hands and are already reading music. You can see some of the photos there on the screen. Just like the other classes, Mrs. Prosperi and I have Google Classroom running. Our syllabi are saved on there, as well as any assignments. So if your child misses class, please have them check their Google Classroom to see if there's any assignment for them to do. In addition to this, for the band students, they have some extra supplies that they should have brought in by now. We'll start playing our instruments tomorrow and Thursday, so if they haven't brought them in, they need to have them to participate in class. This includes the masks or the puppy pads or the bandanas for the different instruments. We're both available via email. You see our email addresses listed there. And thank you so much for sharing your children with us. It's been a joy already. Can't wait to see what's coming next. I'll turn it over to our CTE crew, Gary, Carrie, and Dr. Thomas Call.
Thank you, Ms. Reifenberg.
Okay, I'm assuming that maybe Mr. Giacchetti will go last with like he did the last time, so I'm just going to jump in. My name is Mrs. Hajar. My name is Carrie Hajar, and I am teaching 7th grade graphic communications. And that class is basically learning and perfecting, for many of your students who already know or are comfortable with Google Apps, perfecting the Google Apps and using those Google Apps in graphic communication. So we're making slides, we're going to be creating sites, we're going to be going through all of the apps in the Google Apps. And it's been very interesting because so many of the students are so great with them. But even today, when we were with on email, we there was some tricks, that they didn't know. So their assignment tonight is to find a tip or trick that they don't know, and they're going to be teaching it to their classmates. So everybody knows the basics of email, but not everyone knows all the things that Google offers when you have your email. So here's my email address if you need to contact me. Here's a picture of our students on the computer working on one of the assignments. And that assignment I gave them was DoDEA has a set of 7 capacities of the literate individual. So it is their idea of exactly what makes a literate individual. And it has to do with demonstrating independence, building strong content knowledge, responding to different tasks and purposes, as well as critiquing also with comprehending. So they were asked to do a slide presentation, which became posters, which will be posted around the room and around the school, which shows these DoDEA aspects that have been important. So as you can see here, we're going to be using all the ones that you're used to, but also even Jamboard. We started with Jamboard the other day and nobody had done it yet. So there are definitely some Google apps that the students are going to be learning. And every time we learn a new app, they're going to be having a project to apply that app. So it'll be a real world hands-on experience with these apps. I also have a Google Classroom, and are you not seeing my slide? Okay, thank you. Everyone's already explained the Google Classroom. The only thing I want to show you is I have an assignment section, a classwork section. That's stuff we do during the day and during the class day. So it's not necessarily a homework assignment. And then all the tutorials or resources that I think they need to reach, later on. The other thing I would like to show you is every day this is also on their Google Classroom. Every day we come into class with a puzzle. I just think starting the day off with something to start their brain. They always ask me when I forget to put it up. So we start with these. But if you notice on here, the agenda for the day is posted, and I've been keeping them up with all the old ones so that if your student is absent, if your student goes home after not having me for a couple days because of the block schedule, they can go back to the agenda in the classroom and figure out exactly what we worked on so that they know they're on task. The class I have right now is so unbelievably cooperative and kind to each other and helpful. It is a fabulous start to my morning, and I think that the kids are having a great time, and I really think they're enjoying being back at school. So hopefully you guys are all enjoying that as well. And please contact me with any questions or concerns that you have throughout the semester. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ajar. Dr. Thomas Call, please.
Yeah, so my name is David Thomas Call. So I'm teaching the computer apps class. And basically, we cover a variety of different topics because that's kind of what middle school tech apps and CTE is. It has to get a lot of experience with a lot of different STEM topics so that when they go to high school, if they're interested in learning video, if they're interested in learning 3D printing, they can take an entire class on it. So our goal is to have them experience a lot of different things. So some of the things we'll cover, not necessarily in depth, but we'll cover coding, we'll do some engineering, we'll do some game design, we'll work on spreadsheets, a little 3D printing. Some of the hands-on stuff we normally do is a little harder with the COVID, but we're figuring out ways around it because that's very important for kids to be able to build, not just be on the computer the entire time, but also do things off the computer. So, but if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And if you want to volunteer, when we can have volunteers again, that would be great also. Next person will be Spanish, will be Nikki Conte.
There we go. All right, so I'm Mrs. Conti, and hopefully you can hear me and see me, so it seems. And there we go. And what we're going to do is, can you see when I'm presenting?
No.
Okay, so let me go to present. Let's go back. And it's down here. All right.
We'll just go back to window here.
All right, so go ahead.
I'll help you out.
All right, so maybe just down below.
Let's see if we got, I think this.
Maybe share, hit share. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right, so everything that everyone said before, I totally agree. Wonderful children. They really are on the ball. They know where to find their information. We've trained them. And they learned from last year. They're experts. Sometimes they help us. And as far as Google Classroom is their go-to to find out what the lesson of the day was. Every day we start the lesson. I show them what the outline is and what's going to occur for the day. It also gives them their ICANN statement. It reviews assignments that they have due. They can submit their assignments in classwork in Google Classroom. Some children take pictures, some children submit a PDF, some children submit a Google Doc. They have a copy of what the assignment is uploaded in Google Classroom and also in GradeSpeed. As Mrs. Prosperi said, GradeSpeed is the go-to. That is like looking at our gradebook. That is a snapshot of how your child is doing with upcoming assignments and past assignments. Again, as Mr. Shea said, you have a copy of our email. I would be domenica.conti@dodea.edu and domenica.lconti@student.dodea.edu. You've all signed the course curriculum, so you're familiar with how the program is broken down. As you know that your children have challenged themselves in taking an additional academic class. It's an academic elective. It's taken for Dodea High School credit. So basically they're starting their high school coursework now in 7th grade. So very impressive. They are measured on 4 domains, as in any language. And Ms. McCall mentioned earlier, if you were a 6th grade parent, they are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Students are required to review vocabulary and grammar presented in the daily lesson nightly. They should study about 15 minutes nightly. They're Spanish. They have Quizlet to practice in the form of games. They have the online V-Text book, which will also say the words for them. So they have a variety of places where they can go to learn their lesson in fun ways. There's a written assignment turned in weekly, the cumulative grade, which is broken down in GradeSpeed as quizzes 30%, tests 30%, projects 20%, and homework 20%. I gave you a little snapshot of the textbook, but the students have a virtual text. They have logged on to vhlcentral.com, and VHL stands for Vista Higher Learning, which is the company that publishes the series. We have a new series coming. It's gone through the pipeline. We're just waiting for approval. So we will not be using the Discover series throughout the year if all goes well. But either way, most books start off with introductions, greetings, expressions of courtesy. So this is what we're doing now. And it gives them something, should we go virtual? It also has an online workbook, and I could submit assignments. And also it has practice activities that they could submit through the virtual text and VHL Central. I also give them other links, songs. Students already know their login and password. It is their Gmail, student Gmail is their username, and their password is the password they use for their student Gmail. I also uploaded some additional videos, practice activities, their homework, and sometimes there's games to reinforce student learning. And so to give you an idea of the first quarter, what we were doing, and we've done the alphabet already, we've sung some songs. There are greetings, goodbyes or farewells, identifying yourself and others, expressions of courtesy. We've discussed nouns, articles, the, or we haven't gotten to that, but we started nouns. And we're going to move on to articles, the, and. We did a little bit today, the conjugation of ser, to be. They've done some with como eres, what do you like, como es, de donde eres, where are you from? We have 2 songs we'll be singing later, starting on Friday, Gold Day and Black Day, de donde es, and hola, ¿qué tal? We will then move on to classrooms, school life, school subjects, fields of study. At some point, we'll get family, conjugation of AR verbs, forming questions. As I said, estar, ¿cómo estás? The numbers from 0 to 100. There's family. And then the present tense of ER and IR verbs. At this point, if there are no questions, I heard that a question, so I would X out right here. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Conte. If you can just answer that question to Ms. Flagg in the chat box, that works.
Okay, bear with me. Is time on Duolingo? Yes, exactly. And so they also have their Duolingo link that absolutely, that is considered also study time. Thank you for adding that. Like I said, there's different sites and I neglected to mention Duolingo. So I appreciate that, Mrs. Flagg. So again, I'd like to thank you for your wonderful children. They're a lot of fun, all right? And they're doing a wonderful job and working hard. At this point, I'd like to pass it on to Mrs. Coelho, who is our physical education teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Conte.
Okay, thank you. And so
hello, everybody. Mrs. Coelho, and I'm really fortunate to get to teach your kids every day, and they are just a bundle of energy. They come in enthusiastic, and we have a lot of fun. So grade's a really fun year. As in the past, many of your students have had me last year in 6th grade, and our lessons are focused around the 5 national standards, and there are grade level outcomes that go along with those. So that's where lessons are based, that's how they're graded. It focuses on what they should know and be able to do as a result of being a part of our physical education class to become a physically literate student. Each week, several activities will be posted on my Google Classroom as well. You've seen many of them. Mine looks very similar. And that way, if they miss anything in class, they can hop onto Google Classroom and see what we're doing. And there's also a weekly workout log posted there. And their goal is to work out at least 4 days each week. And there's a spreadsheet that they keep in their Google Drive. And they just attach the spreadsheet on Tuesday evening with whatever workouts they've done. I correct them on Wednesday mornings. I return them so that then they have access to them again for the next week. Dress for class. They really just need to have sneakers on. They are allowed to change if they choose to. They have a locker assigned in the locker room and can keep a pair of sneakers there or a change of clothes if they choose. It's their locker. Nobody else uses it. They are welcome to put a lock on it if they want. It'll just need to be removed at the end of the semester. And that covers clothing. We're off to a really great start learning about fitness assessments. So our FitnessGram fitness assessments will begin shortly, and we will have a FitnessGram report emailed out to you, hopefully by report card time. That's our goal. And really, I just wanted you to know that their fitness assessments do not, their grades aren't reflective of their fitness assessments, how well they perform on that fitness assessment. It's simply for them to get a picture of where they are and to set some goals for themselves to help maintain and improve their fitness. So I look forward to working with them and teaching them about the importance of being physically active throughout their lifetime. And please just contact me if I either talk too fast or you have any questions. And Mr. Shea, I'm not sure who we're turning the presentation over to at this point.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho. We're turning it over to Ms. Smith and then Dr. Lopez.
Can you see me? Hello, I'm Mrs. Amy Milano Smith. The kids call me Mrs. Smith. I am teaching Pathways to careers and Choices 360 this year. Let me get my presentation up for you. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this year we'll be talking about careers and how students choose a career. They'll take an inventory first thing. And then we'll talk about teamwork, their time management, how they manage their times. Every student will have their own Choices 360 account, and they will explore different careers on that as well, and different courses they will take in high school. And we're also going to talk about college and career ready, such as college essays, scholarship essays, just getting them familiar with that sort of process, along with job application, cover letters, and resumes. We'll do a mock resume, mock interviews, thank you cards, and we'll end the note with something fun like vision boards. So this is my email. You can see that. And I look forward to working with your students.
Thank you, Ms. Milano Smith. Good job. 8th grade parents, if you've come in, just stand by. We're finishing up with 7th graders. We'll be with you in a couple minutes right after Dr. Lopez's presentation on AVID.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to pull up my presentation also. So let's see here. Can you see that?
No.
No.
Okay, hold on. I'm having the same technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. All right. So how about now? Can you see that?
No.
Yeah.
If there's a PowerPoint or something from a Google.
Yes. Okay, so you can see that, Avid 7.8?
No.
Ah!
Is it a PowerPoint, Dr. Lopez, or is it in your Google Tab?
Not. It's from my Google Drive.
Okay, so when you present, instead of presenting full screen, try presenting with Google Tab.
Okay, let's see. Let's try it again. Present. Okay, present now. Chrome tab. Is that the one I want?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How about that?
That's it.
Yep, coming up.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. They've made some updates since we were in virtual school in the spring, which is great. But we're all just kind of learning how to use those tools again. My name is Tracy Lopez, and I am the AVID teacher as well as the ELA 8 teacher and the ESL teacher here at the middle school. I want to talk about AVID first. The acronym for AVID is Advancement via Individual Determination. That portion of the title, Individual Determination, is really important. I'm so happy that every student that is in AVID this year selected AVID as their elective. So they want to be here, they're highly motivated, they're highly engaged, and we're having a lot of fun. Our first project that we turned in this year is on the left-hand side of the screen. It's an AVID quilt, and each square in the quilt represents a student, and who they are represented symbolically and visually through different symbols and images and items. So it was a really fun project. It allowed us to get to know each other and build a family, because that's a really important concept for AVID, creating an atmosphere where we all feel comfortable and willing to share and take risks. The core of AVID is something called WeCore. And what that stands for is writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. So through this foundation, we are looking at different skills to prepare students for the rigors of college. And we do that through the AVID curriculum, which is focused on AVID weekly articles and the WeCore strategies. and tutorials, which form the basis for really understanding how to be successful at these advanced courses that the students are taking. So they're led by a peer. Usually the peer is in college. They come onto campus and they work with the students to help answer their own questions and figure out where things broke down in their understanding so that they can take better notes, be more engaged in the class, those kinds of things, study in different ways so that they're more successful. And then on Fridays, when we have a 3-day week together, we do things like philosophical chairs and Socratic seminars and things like that that really build our sense of community and help us to develop those critical skills like communicating effectively to others. So that is the AVID course. And Mr. Shea, did you want to do an intro before I move on to ELA?
Because you're starting the 8th grade, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's segue here. 7th grade parents, thank you for attending. Yes, we're going to show Mr. Giacchetti's retirement last, but we appreciate you attending. If you have any questions, you can still put them in the chat box, or you can contact myself or individual teachers via the email address we sent out last week. So we'll wrap up with Mr. Giacchetti's video, and then we'll start our 8th grade program.
Hello. I'd like to take this time to say goodbye. I'm ending my career with DoDEA after having served in Berlin, Hohenfels, Regensburg, Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, and the past 14 years here at West Point. It has been my tremendous pleasure and opportunity to be able to work with the children, especially here at West Point. It's an amazing installation. They're amazing children, and I wish everybody the best in the future. Thank you for the opportunity, and Godspeed.
As I mentioned earlier, Mr. Giacchetti is retiring September 30th, and we wish him the best of luck as he heads down to his house on the Jersey Shore and wraps up his DoDEA career and continues his passion for art and sculpting. So thank you, Mr. Giacchetti. We are now going into the 8th grade portion. We're a few minutes late, 8 minutes behind, but we'll catch up. Welcome to all our 8th grade parents. We were obviously hoping to do this in person, but regardless, we felt it was important to do an open house, even if it was a virtual version. We've had a very successful opening to the year. The last 3 weeks, we're now in our 4th week, and I just can't thank Command enough. Colonel Marson was working with us the first half of the summer, Colonel Roselle the second half of the summer, to put everything together to come back to school. You parents have been absolutely fantastic. Our students, I can't say enough about them. They've come in and they've done a great job of following our COVID mitigation plan. And of course, our faculty and staff. This is my 8th school in my education career, and there's no better faculty and staff than what we have here. So thank you all very much. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. We'll answer them along the way. Otherwise, we'll kick it back to Dr. Lopez to start the 8th grade portion of our virtual meeting. Thank you, Dr. Lopez.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shea. I'm going to echo a common theme throughout this afternoon, which is that you have amazing kids, and we are so excited to be able to interact with them in person this year. And we're just looking forward to a great year. And I want to talk about the ELA curriculum. So let me share my slide with that. I hope that this goes better than it did the last time. Okay, let's see, present now. Okay, Chrome tab. Okay, here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so Ms. Munderville talked about this a little bit in her presentation, that this year DoDEA put out a document called Essential Learnings, and we've all been encouraged to use that, and you know, just to kind of be aligned with what teachers are doing in the virtual school and things like that. So there's an essential question that guides the ELA 8 curriculum, and that question is, in what all created by conflict? So I really loved when I saw this essential question because it's apropos to our world right now, and it provides a lot of opportunities for us to talk about and make connections to real world events that are happening right now. And kids are really tuned into those. I've already heard a lot of comments, you know, about things that are going on and the opportunity and the willingness, the eagerness that kids have to talk about things. So the first unit that we are going to engage in is a unit on creating a memoir. And so we did that by introducing ourselves using 6-word memoirs. And here are some of the memoirs that the students created. They got really, really creative with them. Knee deep in the water somewhere. I loved that one. Lake life is the best life. I could totally connect to that. So here's an overview of what that essential question is going to look like in ELA 8. So we'll be looking at forces that create conflict. We're talking about internal, external conflicts in literature, and then how those kind of look in our real world too. We'll be doing a memoir narrative writing assignment, and the novel text that our anchor text for the unit is going to be The Outsiders. And then in quarter 2, we'll talk about historical conflicts. We'll be doing some informational writing then and studying the novel Brown Girl Dreaming. Quarter 3, we'll continue to look at how conflict impacts societies. We'll be doing argumentative writing the second part of the year, and we'll study the novel A Long Walk to Water. And then we'll talk about how survivors have handled conflict. So we'll learn some lessons by listening to how others have dealt with conflict throughout their lives. So that in a nutshell is an overview of what ELA 8 is going to look like. Like the others, we'll be talking about all of our texts are online through my HRW. Students today, in fact, got online throughout the 8th grade, and they checked to make sure all of their textbooks were working, that they could get into grade speed, all of that. So students should pretty much be on board right now in the event that we do have to go remote. But if we don't go remote, it's a great way for them to monitor themselves and, you know, just make sure that they're up to speed with all of their assignments. So I am going to segue into talking about grade speed also before we turn it over to Mr. Bistor. Let me find my link. Can you guys see now that there's different icons on my screen? Or is it still presenting my other slide?
It's presenting your other slide, ELA at a glance.
Okay, so let me share this one instead. How does that look?
Yep, you're on the school website.
Okay. So this is from the West Point Middle School homepage. And if you scroll all the way from the top, there's a lot of great information, but all the way at the bottom, you'll visit the GradeSpeed website through here and log in as a parent. If you are not sure how to do that, then you can, there's actually a form that you will fill out, and it will allow you to request access to GradeSpeed. We encourage kids to check GradeSpeed at least weekly, if not, you know, a couple of times a week. It is our official means of communicating student grades. It's a snapshot of exactly where they are in our classroom at the moment. So please reach out to us if we can help you to access that. And that is my presentation for ELA 8. Please reach out if you have any questions. Mr. Bistor, you are next.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. And as I said earlier, Mr. Bistor is filling in until Miss Elvie arrives. She's finishing her in-processing now, and he's done a fantastic job, and we appreciate everything you've done. Chris, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I am currently filling in for Miss Elvie, as Mr. Shea just said. I am covering Math 8 algebra at this point. I will present here a tab of what we've worked on. All right, so to start out the year, we've kicked it off with Pythagorean theorem. The kids seem to have had a lot of fun with this topic. We just did our test on that, and everybody did fantastic. We are working on to going in square roots and cubed roots. Again, so far the students have really had a great time starting out this lesson. I look forward to moving forward with it. We will then move into decimals, dividing fractions into decimals, working with solving equations and inequalities as we move through. This is a very rigorous course. It goes very fast-paced. They are ultimately striving for high school credit in this class, so they really do need to work on anything that they may struggle with. Come and see me for help, get the help that they need, because if they get lost in the beginning, it only gets harder as we move through. I give the opportunity for every student to ask questions throughout the course during the day when I am teaching the material. I ask for their input constantly, as many of your sons or daughters might tell you. They constantly do provide answers and work through with their suggestions as to how we should solve it, what they might have done wrong, so that we can figure out how to go back and fix that for them. The syllabus is the framework that was provided by Dodea. It breaks out the week by week layout of each lesson that we will cover. In this course, I have set up the grading as 50% tests, 30% quizzes, 10% homework, and 10% other. Many of you probably have not seen your students come home with homework at this point. The beginning part of the course was a lot of repetition, but moving forward, they will have homework assignments for a few problems every night to really understand the topics that we are working on. My contact information is there. I know it was sent out. My phone number is also there. If your student is struggling at night and you can't get me by email, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help out getting that homework done or what they're struggling with to better explain it. This was a perfect quote to fit into 8th grade. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Math, do not take shortcuts in math. It only makes it more confusing as you go on. So every night, please take a time to review with your son or daughter the coursework in Google Classroom. I do put up the lesson of the day broken out by day with everything that we covered in the classroom. I write on the smartboard directly on each lesson by page number. So everything at the end of the course, the day, gets exported as a PDF and dropped into Google Classroom for them to review. If they are absent at the end of the course that day, they could go on to the classroom and find everything that they missed for the lesson of the day. This week, we did take a pause in the curriculum to review the test material that we just did, any questions that they had to get their understanding back. And then we also started to prepare for the beginning of the year exam, which everybody must complete district-wide by week 6 of the school year. So we will be touching on that on probably Monday. At this point will be their exam, and it is online. It's a 10-question test, and we have been covering the material today. We just half of it. We will finish the other half to prep them for that so that they can do well on that exam. Again, they can participate in class. If they review at night and they do have questions, please have them write them down on a piece of paper, bring them into class the next day. we can answer those questions for them. Don't be ashamed to ask questions in this class. I try to stress that to them. It's really the best way to learn, and any mistakes that are made by one student or questions really can benefit the whole course. So I really do ask that they participate in asking questions. Although my time may be limited until Miss Elvie arrives, I really do hope to leave a lasting impression with your student and my students, that math can be fun and enjoyable. It's not all about the numbers and equations, but here we are for a great 20 to 21 math year. So I will leave it at that, and thank you for your afternoon. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it. Mr. Lyle's going to come on and talk about 8th grade math, please.
Probably a good idea to get my microphone unmuted. And let me get.
We hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my entire screen. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Bistro. Thank you, Mr. Shea. Let's get my 8th grade information out. Let's go here. Okay. I would like to express my gratitude to the students this year. This is my 29th year teaching, and I've never had better students. They are amazing, especially with all the craziness that is going on. Let me take a couple of minutes to give you an overview of 8th grade math. Course description of this first quarter. We started Module 1, Integer Exponents and Scientific Notation. Basically, students are expanding their basic knowledge of positive integer exponents. Next, students are going to work with numbers in the form of an integer multiplied by the power of 10 to express how many times as much one is than the other. We're over halfway finished with the first module.
Mr. Lyle, sorry to interrupt. Are you presenting?
Yes.
We don't see your screen.
Okay, hang on. Just a second. I did present. I believe I am presenting. Let me cancel and try again. Maybe it got stuck. Present now. My entire screen. Can you see it now?
Mr. Lyle, are you sharing a PowerPoint, or are you sharing something from your Google Tabs?
I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, but my question is, do you have a PowerPoint, or is it something from Google Tabs that you're sharing?
It's a Google slide presentation, Google Slides.
Okay, so when you share, you need to go to the, instead of sharing full screen, share Google Tab.
Okay, hang on. Google Tab. Okay. That's just worked for my 6th grade class. Can we cancel? Now when I present now, okay, I see a Chrome tab. Okay, can you see it now?
Actually, no.
Okay, we're going to send Dr. Thomas call down. Ms. Granger, do you want to jump in there for social studies, and we'll come back to Mr. Lyle? Ms. Granger?
Okay, hang on. You know what?
Okay, I'll go ahead and then I'll jump off. So can you all see my screen right now by chance?
No.
Okay. All right, no worries. Basically, I apologize. I closed out real quickly when I was trying to figure out what was going on with Mr. Lyles. So I'm the history teacher and also the 8th grade integrated science teacher. Mrs. Lamica is going to share some information with you about Google Classroom in just a moment. The one thing that I do want to share with you, however, that might be a little bit different in mine is that if your student is absent, they can always go directly to the new stream. And in the new stream, I will have not only what we're doing for that day, but I will additionally have attachments for anything that the students require.
I'm going to my entire screen.
In 8th grade history, one of the focuses is it's the second part of a 2-year series. So this is something that's new to DODEA. 2 years ago, they decided to rearrange how we teach history. Up until 2 years ago, our course stopped at the Civil War, and that was it for 8th grade. Now 7th grade is Mrs. Prospery teaches that course as a 7th grade course, which is colonization up through the Civil War. And then the 8th grade class begins with Reconstruction and moves forward. If you're wondering why your students are not studying that right now, it's because, again, since this is a new transition over the last couple of years, I don't want to skip anything. So as part of this transition, last year's 7th grade course ended with the War of 1812. So I have picked up there to ensure that students understand when we study Reconstruction, what happened in the Civil War, why the Civil War occurred with regard to sectionalism. So that's what we're doing there. And in 8th grade integrated science, we have been engaging in some labs. It's all about inquiry, whether your students are sitting in my history classroom or whether in my science classroom. We invest a great deal of time in communicating our ideas, collectively being respectful and tolerant of the ideas of others, and engaging in critical thinking. I've shared a lot of information with you, particularly in history, before school even started. So if you do have further questions, however, Mr. Shea shared emails. I'll send another email to you this evening. Please feel free to reach out to me. The last thing that I do want to mention to you is organization. We are not sharing supplies. The students are not sharing supplies with one another. So I would ask that each night, if you would please take a look in your students, have them along with you, check through their book bags, make sure that they have pencils and paper and things of that nature. It's crucially important that they have their own supplies. Also being organized, if you'll double check them, these are middle school students, so they don't always have that gene for organization. They are learning, but it will set them up for success. So help them to make sure that they have dividers for each class, that they're keeping their work in the dividers and not shoving and stuffing papers in that binder. If you'll just help hold them accountable at home and maybe have a homework drop spot where they always have their things, and at night when they finish, they go ahead and prepare their book bag. They put that binder in there. You know all those papers are in it, and you make that double check to ensure that they have their pencils and all their own personal supplies for the next day. That would be very appreciated, very much appreciated. Finally, on our school website, we have a list of the school supplies in the Back to School tab. The one supply that we could use, if you have not already sent it in, is Lysol wipes or Clorox wipes. We want to keep your students safe. We're going through those very quickly. So if you've not sent those in to us, if you'll please do so, we would greatly appreciate it. So I will turn it back over to Mr. Lyle now. And again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. And I will send to you once again my cell phone number for any texts and my email address for any emails. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Granger. Mr. Lyle? There we go. Thank you. You're on, Mr. Lyle. You have to unmute, please.
There we go. I got you. Okay, thank you. So again, I would like to express my appreciation for the amazing students that we do have. This is my 29th year, and it's working. We're good. Okay, so I thought I'd give you a little brief description of what's going on this quarter. We are about halfway finished with Module 1, integer exponents and scientific notation. We should just a couple of weeks start the concept of congruence, Module 2. Typical lesson begins with a warm-up activity, including concept development using problem examples. That usually takes about a third of a lesson. And then there are teacher-led exercises that we do for about another third of the lesson. And about the last third of the lesson is concluded with a problem set, an individual activity that students do solving problems. Now, one thing that I would like to do a lot more this year is to do a lot more projects to kind of enhance their understanding of concepts learned in class. I want to give the students an opportunity to really express their expertise in this concepts they're learning. Here we go. Now, online resources are multiple. Number one, the engagenewyork.org. You can download a textbook, download a lot of other resources on this website. Also, Carnegie Learning login. There is a link on our homepage, on the school homepage, to Mathia from Carnegie Learning. Mathia is a really very impressive online application where students can log in and get started and get a lot of help with problems they may be having, or just to expand your knowledge, or even to challenge yourself. Now, speaking of challenging yourself, Khan Academy has a 6th grade version linked to Eureka Math, Engage New York, and it's another opportunity that I'm looking forward to using to enhance the challenge of our students. Also, there we go. That's the second one. And of course, there's DoDEA, College and Career Ready Standards. Tons of resources on that page. I'll take advantage of that. Looking at our grading policy, tests and quizzes and classwork and homework are both 30%. Projects, which I would like to increase, are 20%, and class participation, which is huge, another 20%. So at this time, I would like to express again my appreciation for our great students this year. And let me go ahead and stop that presentation. And let's see, who am I presenting next?
Thank you, Mr. Lyle.
Ready. My pleasure.
Ms. Reifenberg is up. She's going to talk about music. Ms. Reifenberg and Ms. Prospery, actually.
Actually, can I turn it over to Mrs. Lamica for biology first? I think she's on here for that, and then I'll pick it up for the specials.
Yes, please. Thank you. I turned the page and I shouldn't have. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Therese Lamica, and I have the biology class, which its official name is Living Environment. It's a high school level bio course, and it's required for graduation from New York State. It is rigorous. We do go quickly. The students will notice that they have a lot more reading and writing and independent study than they had in 7th grade. So it's very important to be organized, to not get behind with your assignments. Also, there is a lab requirement of a certain number of minutes of labs. So with the COVID restrictions, I'll modify everything that we need to modify, and we'll get those labs done. So what the students are not used to yet, because this is their first high school course, is this is a cumulative course, meaning they're going to have a mid-year test, which I do when I get to our halfway point of our material, which is usually early February. And then they do take a final exam at the end of our school year in late May. So this is new for them. They've never taken a cumulative test before. And they both will count in their class average. They also get to take the New York State Regents exam in June. So if you grew up in New York or you've had older students, you're familiar with that is. That's a standardized test that all the bio students all in New York State will take. And Just realize that it's normally offered after our school year ends. Now, for the first time in history, it was canceled last year due to COVID. So, of course, we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball to know what this year will hold, but I am going to cover everything and have them ready for it if, in fact, there is a Regents this year. New York State is also going through this transitioning period to new standards based on the next generation science standards. But your students will not be taking that new exam. The new exam isn't scheduled till 2024. Okay. So I do want to talk about, oops, sorry about that. I do want to talk about Google Classroom really for the whole grade level. So I'm just going to switch tabs for a second here. So when your students, let me say that Google Classroom we're having running all year, okay? So that way we'll have continuity if we ever have to go to remote learning at any time during the year. It's been great so far. Just if somebody is absent, they're used to looking right on Google Classroom where an assignment is, so they don't skip a beat. Okay, so I just want to take you through what Google Classroom looks like, a little tutorial here. Okay, so the stream is where any announcements might be, okay? Really, oh, also, if we were to go remote, there's a Google Meet link right here. That's what we would use under classwork. This is where all your assignments are. And they start with the most recent, and then they go backwards chronologically to the first. I also have a resources tab. Course syllabus is on here right now. There's nothing else on here right now, but there will be, okay? There is a tab for grades, but I know that, I'm not sure about all my colleagues, but most people may post grades on here, but really GradeSpeed is the place to go, the official place for grades. Okay, so have your students show you their Google Classroom. So you'll get familiar with how it works. Oh, also, when you're in an assignment and you click on an assignment, there'll be all the instructions and any kind of resources they need. Now, the student view is a little bit different. If your student clicks on View Assignment, over on the right, there'll be a box right where they can turn that assignment in. Okay. All right, so that's what I wanted to just do with Google Classroom for everybody's benefit. Where did my contact information go? It disappeared. Okay. Sorry about that. But you all, I think you all have everybody's email address. All right, so I am done and I'm going to hand it off to, I believe, our next specials teachers.
That's correct. Thank you, Ms. Lamica.
All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Megan Reifenberg.
And I'm Melissa Prosperi.
And we are the music teachers here. And this year with COVID-19, some of the risk mitigation measures that we took were splitting classes. So we had smaller sizes. So we actually have the pleasure to co-teach some of the 8th grade students this year. So as you can see on the screen, we've had a great start to the year. Students in advanced band have been doing bucket drumming and marching. And they're actually going to start playing their regular instruments this week. So we ask that any band students have their supplies here that they need. Any of those mitigation measures that they have for this class, like surgical masks, please make sure that they have them in so that they can participate in rehearsal. You also see here our guitar students who are playing. Students who are brand new to guitar are on instruments playing notes on the first string, as well as students who are in guitar too, who have experience and are working self-paced through the exercises and quizzes. All of our work is saved onto Google Classroom, so they can you can access the syllabus as well as the students can access their assignments. And of course, you can contact us by email if you have any questions. Thanks so much for sharing your kids with us. They're awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Prosperi, Ms. Reifenberg. Appreciate it. I think we're going to go down to Ms. Hajar, and she's going to talk about drama.
Hi there. My name is Carrie Hajar, and I am really excited that drama was brought back. They weren't sure it was going to be running this year, and luckily it is. We have a fabulous class filled with very energetic people, and I keep saying this is a volunteer class whenever I need them to do something, and we are just never short of volunteers. Clearly, drama is a very hands-on, very active, and energetic class. And we've had to kind of rethink a few things with some of our COVID protocols. Luckily, we're still able to get into the auditorium as long as we're separated really nicely. In the picture here, you can see the students practicing their, stage directions, stage right, downstage. They all did excellent on their assessment on that. My email is there if you need to contact me. This class is going to be a bundle of energy. So we play warm-up games in the morning. We've started a theater history project and stage directions, types of stages, types of theater. We're moving into an audition little lesson where they had to prepare. I don't know if they were preparing in front of you guys, but they had to prepare for an audition that's coming up tomorrow. So that's just more of a practice audition. We're going to continue to just work all types of drama. These are some drama middle school standards. Some of your students might not have signed up for drama. The school had to work very well at making sure that everyone's in a special that is one grade level, and some of the students really, really wanted it, and some of the students necessarily didn't sign up, but everybody is being wonderful and cooperative, and it's a great class. So it enhances self-awareness, self-confidence, inspires creativity. It gives helps you explore yourself, your body, your voice, improvisation, acting techniques. So there's a lot of fabulous things that come out of acting, come out of drama, even if your student is the one who is shy to get up on stage. I told them they will not be graded on whether their presentation is less energetic than somebody else's. Everybody does what they can do, and they just have to be willing to to try. So even the audition, I've even given some of the students the chance to not audition. They just need to do a line memorization so that they're kind of following that same standard. So I have a classroom, Google Classroom set up as well. In that classroom is a daily agenda. It will always be there so that if they're absent, they'll know what we worked on and what they can get to. Please contact me if you have any questions or concerns throughout the year. I'm going to kind of switch gears here. I'm also teaching family and consumer science. And this is another brand new class this year, fabulous class where we work on, it's a 1-quarter class designed to provide middle school students with basic skills needed for life, including, I'm calling Adulting 101. So financing and business, nutrition, food prep, job preparedness, parenting and family relationships, professional communication, caregiving for children and elderly. So far we have done a unit on business communication. They've had to write a letter to a business, either giving them praise or giving them a concern. Then we switched it to email netiquette, and they had to transfer that into an email version. Now we are on a unit with resume building, interview. They're going to be doing their own entrepreneur unit where they create their own business and advertise for that. So this is a fabulous, it's an interesting class. There's only 4 people in there, and they're very quiet, but very, very, very cooperative and kind and good to each other. And everything I ask, they do amazingly. So this is a great class. I'm also going to switch gears one more time. I am the gifted resource teacher as well. So throughout the year, I've sent a letter to the parents throughout the year. Please contact me if you have any questions or concerns about what your student is doing with gifted education. And that is all for mine. Who's next, Mr. Che?
Thank you, Ms. Sajar. Well done. Ms. Willis?
Oh, well, thank you very much. All I have to say is go STEM. Just thrilled to have a big class full of students. And I can go on and on about what projects we have, but your parents, please know that we're doing plugged and unplugged activities. So they are not only building with design challenges, but they're using some Tinkercad, they're using SketchUp, some Minecraft, as well as manipulatives that they have independently at their stations. So these students are, raring to go. Every day is a full opportunity for us to get critical thinking skills going and build those wonderful just cheers for STEM. So thank you.
All right.
I think I'm passing it on to
Spanish.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Conti, and I'm going to share my screen with you. I want to thank you all for hanging in there. Okay, we're close to the end. And bear with me one moment. Okay. And I should be presenting, and you should see my slides. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct. We see it. Thank you.
All right, so since you are experts, my Spanish 2 parents, you know that your children are taking class for high school credit. This is their 2nd year. You know about the 4 ways of communicating a language. You've also signed the curriculum, so you know how the grades are weighted. I included a picture of the book. We will not be using the book. Well, Dodea is in the process of adopting a new Spanish book. That said, your children are familiar with the VTEX, and everybody either has a textbook or has been able to go log into the link. You know about the videos in practice. You know that today we had yesterday and today, a wonderful presentation for our topic of personal identification, where they're going to be doing PowerPoint on artwork on an artist of their choice. So I really want to move along. I want to wrap up because you've been through a lot tonight. You know about the Apple test that may or may not be given in May for Dodea credit. It is a proficiency test which would measure speaking, listening, reading, and writing. It was canceled last year, so I'll just keep you posted. It is an in-school online activity that they take. We will practice before if we know it's coming. And as Mrs. Lamica mentioned, there is a Regents class, a Checkpoint A proficiency exam. And if deemed feasible for 2021, as Mrs. Lamica said, it was canceled last year. It will probably, so hold the date, around Monday, June 21st, 2021. The test starts promptly at 8:15 a.m. if they do give the Regents this year, and it'll be administered here at West Point Middle School. All right, I think I've covered. So as I said, we're covering first quarter review, personal identification with different activities, topics, tests. We'll follow them, but family life, education, pastimes, that would be sports, activities, what they do on the weekends, and shopping. And then we're going to go into the textbook. If we don't have we'll use the Discovery textbook. If we don't have the new series, which will be an online series. And if we do have the new series, this is definitely topics that are covered in the new series. With this, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to introduce Mrs. Coelho, our physical education teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Conte. Very well done.
Okay,
Coelho,
Hello, everybody. I'm going to be very quick. Most of your students have had a physical education class at some point over the past couple of years, and I wanted to just review a few things. So first off, I really enjoy 8th grade. We have a lot of fun. They're a little bit disappointed that we're not able to do too many team sports as of yet, but are very, very understanding of the reasons why. And we are being really creative about how we are approaching learning skills and sports this year. All of our lessons are based around the SHAPE national standards, and their grades are based on those standards as well. Each week, there are several activities that are posted on Google Classroom that we will do in class and then post there. So if they're home sick for a day, they can simply look on their classroom for any activities and assignments. Let's see, what else? There's a standing assignment for a weekly workout log that's due each Tuesday evening, and they're responsible for logging at least 4 days of activities each week. Dress for class is simply their sneakers. There's no requirement for them to change, but they are more than welcome to if they want, as they have a locker assigned in the locker room for each student. We're off to a great start. We'll be getting FitnessGram testing underway soon, and as soon as it's finished, They'll be able to show you how to log on right from our school webpage, as well as an email report will be sent to you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time on our email. And thanks for sending us such great kids. We really love them all.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho. We're going to wrap up with Ms. Milano Smith and Dr. Lopez with our last two presentations.
Hello, my name is Amy Milano Smith. The students call me Mrs. Smith. I am teaching Pathways to Careers in Choices 360 this year. I am going to share my screen and just give you a quick rundown of what we will be covering this quarter or throughout the year. If it's a quarter class, so I'll have different students each time, each quarter. Here we go. Can you see? So we'll be learning about careers. The students will be doing an inventory on their careers on their own, in a paper inventory they have, and Choices 360. Choosing their careers, we'll be doing PowerPoint about what their careers have, like what they entail, such as the school they have to go to for careers.
Ms. Smith, we can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. I thought you could. Give me 1 second. Can you see it now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, so choosing their careers, what goes into their careers, the classes they'd have to take as they follow that path, time management, how they manage their time, school versus chores versus their personal time. Then we'll be going into interviews and resumes, how to write a resume and cover letter, and preparing the students for high school, their high school classes they can take, such as electives, and required to take for New York State. And that will also lead into our Choices 360. They'll have a program on there for a career path as well as their courses class. And there is my email there at the bottom. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, but I think we'll have a really fun year with your amazing students.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you for taking on that class. And Dr. Lopez, you're wrapping up.
Yeah, I have 7 amazing 8th grade students in AVID. I'm the 7th, 8th grade AVID teacher. Each of those students chose to be in the AVID class again this year. And I'm just so honored that they chose AVID. They're a great group. They've been awesome at mentoring the 7th graders. And we're looking forward to a great year. Thank you so much.
All right. So parents, thank you for attending. We're sorry we cannot have you in the school physically, either for open house or our first Bulldog Bistro, but the first opportunity that we can, we will. We do appreciate the incredible support we've received throughout the community, and we want to let it be known that, you know, we want to be totally connected to the community, although it can't be done with having people in the building. We want to have the communication between school and home be very vibrant. And if you have any questions at all, comments, concerns, please feel free to get a hold of myself, or as we said earlier, all the email addresses have been sent out. Please contact teachers individually. We are going to end with an announcement from Mr. Giacchetti, who will be retiring September 30th. And as soon as we have more information about his position, we will let you know, but we bid him adieu and wish him the best as he heads down to the Jersey Shore to enjoy retirement and pursue his passion of art and sculpture.
Hello. I'd like to take this time to say goodbye. I'm ending my career with DoDEA after having served in Berlin, Hohenfels, Regensburg, Yokota Air Force Base in Japan, and the past 14 years here at West Point. It has been my tremendous pleasure and opportunity to be able to work with the children, especially here at West Point. It's an amazing installation. They're amazing children, and I wish everybody the best in the future. Thank you for the opportunity, and Godspeed.
Thanks again for attending. Have a great evening, and we will talk to all of you soon.